Guys, I'll just wait for a few people to connect. I may have to move my camera yet because the light is kind of glowing at the back of my head. So I'll wait for a few people to connect. Hi, Sarah. How are you, my love? The energy's been pretty heavy the last few days. So due to my schedule and other things, and obviously a lot of you are purging as well, I wanted to give an energy update earlier, but, you know, there's been a lot of meditation, a lot of reflection. I have added additional moderators, and that is so sometimes Shelley can actually watch the video. But, you know, if anyone's sick or anyone can't make it, it's there just in case. Also, I'll wait for a few people to directly connect, and then we'll get into the energy update. I'll check in with all of you and see how you're all doing. As I said, for the last few days, I'm in Perth, WA, so a lot of what I experience tends to be ahead of America. I may just shift my chair a bit because it's not the most glorious kind of view, but I want to get it so that the light isn't directly blaring in everyone's face. Some of you are going to be experiencing old energies. And many of us at the moment, when we do look at the total eclipse, we're sort of asking ourselves, especially in knowing that it does mean tying up loose ends, ending cycles, you know, what does that look like? What does that mean? So a lot of us are in trigger mode. A lot of us perhaps are getting to the point where we're looking at things and we're getting frightened. We're looking at it and saying, okay, what does this actually mean for me? And it depends on the perspective in which you're directly looking at it from. So it might be that you're looking at it from the perspective of your employment, or it could be you're looking at it connected to your finances. It may be you're looking at it from a soulmate or twin flame path. So it really depends on what's really highlighted to you moving into January. And you've got to think back to what you were dealing with last year, what energetically has been coming up for you personally moving into January, and what you're directly dealing with in the 3D right now that's really causing a trigger point for you. So, you know, a lot of us, again, depending on where you are in your life, what you're directly dealing with, you'll kind of have a grasp of what it is that's going to be coming up. The thing is, we don't quite know what that's going to be. So that's causing conflict inside us. But interestingly enough, when we are looking at the aspect of the work that we did last year, and potentially over the last, it could have been even from 2016, we're really ending out and tying up karmic energies. Now, I had been getting a channeling that the karmic energy directly was for those that have been doing the work. The karmic energy then becomes you spiritually where you are in your personal life. So it can be that you're looking at yourself and you're being quite critical. It could be that you're looking at it going, God, have I not purged that? Is this what's coming up? You know, with a lot of conversations I've had over the last week connected to my peer group that are very spiritual people, I tend to get downloads with anyone that I'm directly connected to. So, and generally what happens with me with my gift is something directly will happen to me and I'll be going through a spiritual transformation myself, which is very common with the spiritual community of the way in which we get downloads. So it'll be a 3D direct experience. We gain the insight. We go through the experience. We then meditate upon it and we look at it from an external point of view. We then come back to the table and try and present it to you in the most tidy fashion, so that you can perhaps go away and use it, you know, for yourself. So especially in the twin flame path, you know, things energetically that I get in a download will come towards me first so that I can actually use my gift to the best potential and gain clarity in that myself. A lot of what has been coming through is, how do I put it? You know that you are in alignment. Now, even when you're coming to a point where you go, oh my God, am I going over old ground? That self-awareness is telling you that, in fact, no, because you are in self-awareness mode. That is a very important factor. So if you're aware of what you're doing, when you know it's out of alignment, you have the epiphany about that. So it's very healthy. So try not to be too harsh on yourself. When you also know something isn't flowing or feeling comfortable and it's taking you back to an experience, the mindfulness needs to come to the point where you say to yourself, this is not yesterday. And it's very hard to do that when you're in it as a human. Although you're aware you're doing it, so you're more frustrated with yourself because you're directly doing it and you're in it and you're like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I need to do. How do I need to look at this? So it is very important that you do have that mindfulness about it, and you do need to be less critical. However, I mean, I'm already within the eclipse, and the energy moving into it as it's been amping up has become heavier and heavier. And I'd say probably over the last week, it's been very heavy. Definitely external trigger points with energies externally to myself. And really, I think a lot of us are looking at the structure that we've built, who we are spiritually, the work we've done on ourselves. We can be accidentally in ego. We can also be dealing with mother frequencies with the nodes in Cancer and Capricorn. So you sort of got that aspect where you're being super mindful to the connection of family and kin and trying to keep the balance there. And that energy is there till about March with the nodes. But it's tying up that energy and trying to balance those factors out so connections are more balanced. So it can sort of feel like a retrograde, spiritually speaking, with the war wounds going backwards, but you're in self-awareness about it, so it's a different frequency. With Capricorn energy, it's the mindfulness of where you need to get, how you know, knowing the bigger picture of things, but not quite knowing how you're going to get there. But at the same time, it will be that you have lots of things coming at you that can become overwhelming, because especially for those of you that are aware of astrology, it's quite unique. We tend to look at the transits and go, oh, I'm going into hermit mode. Yes, knowing full well that you have the intellect, the understanding, the perspective to deal with it, but also being very mindful in that sometimes external parties can look at you and go, why aren't you going out today? You know, or why are you being paranoid? I wouldn't directly call it paranoid. I mean, we can't always directly avoid aspects of conflict. It's in every shape in life. But a lot of what I'm seeing is, especially people that have been doing a lot of work spiritually, we're directly looking at external situations and it can be directly triggering you. But it, again, you can come back to self. So a lot of times when we're in the mind and we're thinking too much, the sleeping pattern's getting triggered, you know, what you need to do is come back into yourself. And it's very hard to do that when you're in the pain body experience, because you're going, oh my God, I don't want to go back here again. I don't want this feeling. It feels sort of off. When you do get to the mindfulness again and you can slap yourself out of it, the best advice I can give you, which is very hard because you're going, no, I want to be in this energy right now and this is how I'm feeling and this is my perspective. It's a very dangerous time to be doing that because we're not as capable to keep us grounded as usually we would be. So the potential of the transformation through the transit is going to be risky. So you're going to have issues with your sleeping. Your digestive tract might be off. You know, your lower, your base chakra can be out at the moment. Your third eye can be over triggered, where you're getting headaches or you're getting sinus infections because you're really using that intuition. Again, remember, when we're coming from this, it's very egoistic, especially with the placements at the moment. So shifting your energy and being in that self-awareness, if you can exercise to deplete that energy. If you're getting hot-headed, jump in a swimming pool or go and have a shower. Do something to redirect your energy to keep yourself balanced. A lot of you are going to be in frequencies where it will feel uncomfortable, and that's everyone collectively. You know, everyone feels out of sort at the moment. So we may be dealing with conflict, but at the same time, almost caution with our communication and our throat chakra as to how we say things. So we might be, you know, ready to blurt out sputum and then going, oh, you know where this is coming from. Why am I doing that? That's not who I am. That's not the work I've done. So I think the frustration at times can be that we're physically getting to that point where we're going, why are we doing that? That's not who we are. We've done a lot of work. So, okay, let's get back into mindfulness. It's very triggered energy. So for you to personally stay grounded is going to be more difficult than usual. The other aspect is the fact that with this eclipse, the energy 3 days after can still start bringing some frequencies through, especially with the Leo energy moving in. It can be a different energy altogether. But the 3 days after the eclipse can still bring leftover information, leftover data that you haven't yet received. A lot of us are more separate. Now, when I'm saying separate, it's we're all in our minds. It's not bad if you're assessing and trying to gain clarity, but you're not going to have all the pieces of the puzzle right away. So you're going to have to try to not gain the pieces of the puzzle connected to the past to shape what the potential puzzle is right here, right now, because you're going back into pain body experience and you're going, crap, okay, I've got X, Y, and Z. I'm missing a few pieces in between. But from experience, hey, potentially, previously, blah, 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 that's not going to work because it's not yesterday. But you can run the risk of directly doing that because of potentially having a lack of information coming through. Many times what I had been seeing is when we were asking for signs through universe, we were directly understanding where we had no control and releasing it when we had been in that frequency for too long. And a lot of times we do grasp where we do have control of subject matters and where we physically don't. So when we do release that, it does tend to flow and we're moving with the wave over fighting the wave to try and get things sorted and creating more chaos and mess. Have that perspective in mind when it does come to the 3 day, so that when you're waiting for those pieces to come through, you realize they are coming in. Whatever is ending out can be in many levels. It can be at a 3D level. It can be at an intuitive level, a spiritual level, a karmic level, whatever it be. If you've done the work, you then become your own karmic. Now, when I'm saying that, I'm meaning if you're in self-awareness and you choose and allow your body to be governed by the ego only in fear-based pain body experience, oh my God, it's going to happen again, da 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 da. Yes, you're not governing from your higher consciousness. During this time, be mindful. That is a potential. You're human. But if you can keep checking yourself and breathing, it's going to help you manage the frequency. Be aware that control is not fixing a situation. It's causing more conflict through the process. So having that, try and find a method to keep yourself grounded. If that means actually deferring your energy onto a subject matter temporarily, breathing exercises, walking, counting to 50, counting to 100 prior to you addressing a subject area is going to be beneficial to you, especially when you're in trigger mode. There is also a lot of projection going on at the moment with individuals that you will find around you. So there may be situations where, because you're in self-awareness mode, you're noticing when people around you are getting triggered. And if you're in your self-awareness, you'll know how to directly deal with the conflict, the adversity, the conversations or dynamics coming up. So you need to decipher between what is your role and what others' role is. How do I put it? Today, my daughter had conflict with an external party. Problem-solving skills, depending on age bracket, spiritual growth, etc., all comes down to the person's personal development and growth, okay? Just a very basic example. Redirecting the frequency to her to empower her and say, listen, let the dynamics simmer. You then need to address that area with that individual. So then it's shifting it from becoming a you problem, which isn't, to empowering that person to deal with the conflict, but perhaps gauging when the best potentiality is for that communication to come through. At the moment, it's very difficult to do that because we're all in our ego, we're all in our head, we're all in our pain body experience at different times and not all at once. Because again, it does depend on what you're going through. But you may find, and this tends to happen more as you are moving through an aspect and spiritually growing. You're like, wow, you know, I've done a lot of work on myself. I've really had a lot of growing up to do. My perspective has very much changed. I'm seeing the bigger picture because you're looking at it from an external point of view over a pain body point of view. And that's quite handy. And it does really assist you when you are trying to spiritually grow and see other people's perspective. If you can do that, it's going to help you. But if you are potentially seeing energies trying to get you to solve situations, if you are partaking in that, you are operating from a place of, you know, it's almost fearing going back into a codependent pattern. So just be mindful of that. Any questions while we're on here? As I've babbled away. I'm not pulling cards tonight. I'm in Perth, WA, so it's tonight for me. It's actually 12:30 in the morning. So as I said, a lot of downloads, a lot of discussions, a lot of things going on energetically. So that's the reason I'm not sleeping, but I will be going to sleep shortly. But I just don't feel right now for you guys spiritually, it is the best time to get triggered by romantic videos or anything to that degree. It's just too close to the lunar eclipse. So you're going to have to be mindful as to how you're going to cope with it. If you know that you're on edge, it is so not the best time to look at videos because you will be triggered, you will deflect, you will be in pain body experience, and it's really going to cause issues. Yeah, and look, they're probably going to be in the same connected to work, you know, where they're going to be in it as well. We won't be operating on all cylinders at the moment because you'll find you've become accustomed to a certain way of being and you're being pushed against that. And definitely what I was seeing spiritually for the younger generation, definitely with a lot of clientele at the moment, and I'd seen this last year, I was really having this kind of download of the third wavers, you know, becoming awoken to a point where they're going to go through their dark night of the soul. So people between the age of, and I'm potentially seeing this anywhere from 7 all the way to 30, can be going to 30 and above, a little bit above, can be going through the dark night of the soul, spiritual awakening, trigger points, epiphanies, realizations. Leo is going to go through a mass transformation through this eclipse. There can be a lot of enlightenment. It can be very heavy energy. Again, depending on placements in your chart, you can look at your Venus house. Looking at your chart is beneficial, but really looking at the dynamic of the benefits of certain planets can be beneficial too. So try and understand that, no, we're not redoing 2018, providing you are coming correct. Don't worry about any other party. Just keep coming back to self and understand that the frustration may be energetically for the second wavers and all people that have gone through a lot in 2018, because potentially you're in self-awareness mode. So you may be inclined to feel, oh my goodness, am I going back over old ground? But it's not really that you're going over old ground. It's you're readjusting because you're no longer just doing the work on you. You're in self-awareness when directly dealing with others, whereas a lot of us were in hermit mode. So now we're readjusting to that frequency of experiencing different dynamics. And as healers, you will find your energy frequency will directly trigger other people, or it will directly understand and have compassion and have to maybe gain clarity through them, the way they are transforming. And seeing how do I put it? You potentially may see the younger generation gain perspective on you and what you went through. So they may be experiencing very similar situations to what perhaps you experienced over your lifetime or potentially just last year. I don't think a lot of us are, how do I put it? I had to really meditate upon, is it a purge? And I don't really feel it to be a purge. And again, it will depend on where you are spiritually. If you've released and you've been going with the flow and you've been doing the work on yourself, you're in self-awareness mode as to the reasons, of the codependent patterns, the runner-chaser, trying to save people, the rescuer mode. When you are aware of those things and you're checking yourself, I don't feel it's a purge. I feel it could be a pain body experience or a trigger because things move. And as things move, you think you're going back. You're actually not. You're going forward. But the energy will resemble a trigger point or a purge because of the planets. Thank you. Okay. You want Australian kids. Any questions? Yeah, I agree, Giggle. It is, we're adjusting to, look, we all learn off each other. If we get to a point where we feel spiritually we're more advanced, we're an ego. We really are. And really, this week for me spiritually has been quite interesting because it's been understanding that you need to move, that things change. And that's the reality of life. Nothing ever stays the same forever. And that has always been my favorite saying. But readjusting to that factor in life because of pain body experience and going, hey, it's okay. Things do change. And the ironic thing is, sometimes that aspect of control we once believed, not that we knew we were doing it, gave us that fake perspective of safety. When that carpet's taken and you're in self-awareness, you drop to the lowest low and you grasp the fact that you can only complete yourself, that there is no abandonment, that it's a frequency we had previously to becoming awoken or working through that. We do go back there temporarily and then we're like, yeah, but we're in self-awareness now, so that's not really real. That's a you problem. That's not a them problem. It's like, what are we doing here? You have moved, okay? So you have physically moved, but it's readjusting to the new and the changes. So when we release those things and everything we learned in 2018, connected to codependency, connected to runner chase, all the things I mentioned before, if you have that intact in your mind, you realize you absolutely have no control apart from of yourself. The way you react, the way you vibrationally feel, caring for yourself is what I keep hearing. It's like being okay with the fact that you're a human being, forgiving yourself that you are getting triggered or you are feeling some sort of way and going, it's okay, it's not permanent. It's a point and it can be heightened due to the eclipse. Do you know how things are going to look? At the moment, for everyone, we would all very much love to know how everything's going to be. But in reality, it's a pain body experience. Why do we totally need to know? Because it's not certain and because it's not a reality. So, realizing that you can actually choose to release and just let go. Because 9 times out of 10, things end up being better than you had expected. or working out differently but flowing better should you release your control related issues, and knowing that you don't have that anyway, but just being in your truth, you'll cope a lot better with it. So if you're getting triggered and you're going, I'm looking at this and it's making me feel some sort of way, you can then get to a point you're looking at it and you're going, you know what? How do I know how it's going to be? Do I need to know how it's going to be? Is there something I can be using my time with better than perhaps getting triggered over something I absolutely have no control over? All of us will be triggered, regardless of zodiac sign. A Taurus at the moment through the year will find it difficult because of where the placement is, you know, with Uranus. Uranus is about transformations, change, spirituality. I mean, the list goes on, right? Taurus likes to keep things safe, stable. Energetically moving into the age of Aquarius, that is not a reality. It's a pain body experience. So the more we can grasp and accept, this is what we're having troubles with at the moment. Oh my gosh, what does it look like? Is it going to be okay? No, I need to know, because that makes me feel a fake perspective of safety. Check that, okay? Your home is not your safety. Your home is inside. Keep investing inside. An avalanche could come, your house could be taken. Do you have you? Do you have your strength? Do you have, you know, your ability to rise again? Yes, you do, 100%. The 3D of the connections we have connected to our assets are not real. They're an ego. They're a benefit. They help us. Yes, we don't like to start again, but we do at times, and we do have to. So if we can directly look at that and we can go, okay, so Taurus, yes, will be struggling because they like the structure, they build, they like things to be stable. For them, because Uranus is there, it is about growth and an uncomfortable growth. It's going to push you beyond that point to move away from your natural zodiac signs being, you know, of it being that way and having those essential needs as part of your core value system. So it's even pushing you beyond that point to purge that, to go, is it directly relevant regardless of my birth sign? Is it real? It's a way of being. It's a disposition, so to speak, but it doesn't define you. If you can work with that and grasp it, you will cope. If you can't and you're holding on too rigidly, you will really, really struggle. There must be a spiritual reason why for the Taurus energies that this energy frequency is coming up. It may be for you to get to the heart of the matter, to get to the point where you realize what actually in a relevant setting, in a bigger spiritual setting, away from what the tradition is of your zodiac sign, you're more than that. So it can be for you guys personally. You can have all those things, but it shouldn't be at the cost of the integrity of your spirituality. Any other questions? It's like we're playing Pac-Man. So funny. Well, my daughter's an Aquarian, my mother's an Aquarian, my stepdaughter's an Aquarian, and they're pretty triggered at the moment. Pretty triggered. Well, theoretically, we haven't left Capricorn energy because the nodes are in Capricorn, and that will be for 3 months. So it's still the undertones of that frequency going through. Aquarius at the moment spiritually is you're not addressing the core issue. How do I put it? Some of you can be going back into pain body experience. It can be frightening you because you're seeing something in another person. How do I put it? You're going to be, you may feel more emotional than usual. But again, all of us collectively are going to be changing, and it's going to be very specific to what you currently are going through and what your intuition, your feelings, and your desires were moving into 2019. Oh, yeah, mine's been on fire. And I've been like, I have been checking myself, but I have been a bit frustrated with myself because I am in self-awareness. So when I'm going back over old ground with silly things, it's frustrating because it's not where I'd worked to. It's not my natural way of being. So like I said, it's quite an interesting energy coming through. But it's almost to say, hey, what did you learn? You're testing it now in school. How's it going? Oh, not too good. Okay, you need to be checking yourself. What can you do to better that? What can you do to alleviate that trigger point in you personally to cope with that situation better, to be more adult or spiritually in alignment with who you actually have become? It's like you're at school. And it's a hard lesson moving into January because we had the solar eclipse, the partial, and now we're having blood moon energy, total lunar eclipse, and it's heavy as hell. And that frequency can move forward for another 4 weeks after, where additional information, even up to 8 weeks. So be mindful of those factors with that energy coming in. Well, you can't because you did school last year. Now it's the exam, so you've got to pass or you can't get the bloody hell out, right? You're in it now. Take accountability. Be in self-awareness mode. Don't drop into your ego feeling you're going back over an old purge. No, you're not. Tune out. Refocus. You have power. You know, if we're getting into that point where we're going, oh, I'm in it and it's blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we are. But take a breather. Check what it is. Tune out if you have to. And I know it's bloody hard. I mean, I had a trigger point the other day and it was like, ooh-wee. And it was nothing in particular. It was just in general frustration, you know, completely knowing the energy moving through, knowing, you know, that I'm changing and being intuitive and vibrational to the situation and going, wow, okay, you need to check yourself. I know, and that's what I mean, Malpa, by the education that we're in exams. So those of you who went through your transformation last year, you're now in your exam state to actually apply those lessons to your 3D life. And it's hard because you're sort of looking at it and you're going, okay, what is a healthy boundary? Do I need a boundary? Is that a me problem? Is that a them problem? Am I checking myself? Am I projecting? Am I mirroring? And it can become micromanaging to a point at times where you get quite frustrated, like, oh, frick, you know, do I keep having? After a while, you won't have to think about it. It will come completely natural. Yeah, I'm feeling the exam too. I'm like, you're winning. Yeah, it can feel like you're really sucking at the exam as well. But that's okay. We're human. We're trying, right? It's going to get easier as we move through to March. And it's not going to be the same yet. It is going to be, again, we're looking at time. We're looking back and it's like, blimey, you know, again? Are we going to do this again? No, we're not. We never can do the same thing again. You know, your fair's telling you shit because you can't ever redo the same. The day's gone. It's the past. If you choose to completely keep operating from that same frequency, you can't still get the same situation because it doesn't mean the other people are going to directly deal with you in the same manner. Does that make sense? So it's never going to be the same day ever. Yeah, be very careful at the moment, guys, with videos. It won't help you. To keep in alignment, if you're feeling triggered, you need to take accountability for that. I mean, I know when I'm not, and I'm like, hell no, I'm not going to look at it. If you want to talk about the twins, I can talk about the twins. And I'll be very candid with you. Like I said, I'm a twin. I'm still trying to gauge what I'm going to do with the other channel. I'm trying to meditate on that, as well as deal with the eclipse energy, as well as, you know, my twin flame journey, my daughter. So I am meditating upon it, how it's going to be best applied. With the masculines, there is a mass change energetically happening. Now, each one of you in your own way, your own given situation, you're going to have to not panic, because you need to understand, as you went through transformations, this situation is going to require a transformation as well, and it takes time. But your frustration at times can be, depending on if you're in contact or you're not, you know, is there. And as I said, I will be doing videos to help you guys directly channel and tune, because a lot of the power I try to give you guys is grasping the connection you have, okay? Because you will be able to channel that energy as good, if not better, you know, at times. And then going to a reader is going to give you the clarification, the double clarification. But being in alignment with yourself, trusting your intuition, rebuilding the connection with that, learning how to use your gift to tune into frequencies with the different energies in your gut, you will energetically, telepathically, projector-wise, be able to utilize that to connect in and check in. When you're disconnected and you're just watching videos, videos are perfect. I'm not saying they're not. It's that at a point, you need to have a temporary detox to check in with self. And that should really each day be happening. If you're just thrashing videos and watching and watching and watching, you're hearing a lot of information. You need to ask yourself, why am I overplaying? Okay, if you're overplaying, that's if you're doing that. Because if you're in trigger mode, that can be problematic for you to channel your twin or channel your direction as a person directly. So to get grounded, check in with yourself. What are you feeling? What's coming up? Write it down if you need to, so you can tune into how it's making you feel, because your process of growth is very important. And if you don't grow, which it's impossible not to, you can pause, and it's going to delay and cause toxicity. It's going to cause tower moments and blocks in your road. You know, your inner connection with yourself will be diminished, and you'll have to rebuild it again. And that's very hard when we have tower moments, because we're on the bones of the butt and back up again. And it means a lot more work going back up each time. So after a while, yeah, you'll do it fluidly, but you'd rather choose to be more in your self-awareness mode than going back down there to rebuild up again. It's not witchcraft, it's life. So anyway, trusting in your intuition is important, and that's in any given thing in life. We should always have that trust in our intuition. It's like walking into a room. How do I explain it? I had a girlfriend years ago, and obviously being an empath, and I think any person that actually is sensitive to an environment, it can be from childhood, you know, you've had to walk on eggshells, or you've been aware of situations, you've been an observer, you become more heightened at feeling things, gauging things. So it's working on your intuition, working on your relationship with your intuition, with your perspective of what you're visually seeing, and not just looking at your side, but looking at other people's sides. And Librans are quite good at that, but I'm not, you know, there's many zodiac signs that do things in different ways, but Librans can be quite good at doing that. Building upon that is, would you walk into a room like you're drunk? And when I say that, it's a vague way of describing it. But do you walk into a room and assess the environment? Or do you walk in the room like you're the only energy in the world and that's all that matters? That's quite risky. Okay, so every person should be aware enough to assess situations. And that's the vibration as well. So if we're not in awareness of that, when we do move into a room and we're choosing not to be in self-awareness, well, we'll cop the risk, won't we? So it's the same thing when it comes to the point of saying, hey, I'm actually feeling triggered right now. Is this a healthy time to be listening to videos? Is there a better thing I can do to help me get grounded? What can I do to balance myself out? That's important. But if we're mindfully and willingly doing that, we need to ask ourselves the question, are we choosing to trigger ourselves because we're in pain body experience and we just want to hear the worst case scenario? Because regardless, you'll come back to a grounded point and you'll continue on the path you're doing, but it's not going to make you comfortable at that point. Okay, any questions? I've been sleeping well, but I must say I have been waking up extremely early, which has been quite frustrating. And then I can't get back to sleep, which again is quite frustrating. The mind is very active for a lot. Yes, they can. The rejection isn't a you, it's a them. The rejection is connected to a point in which you guys are triggering each other. So it's not to do with the fact that they're rejecting you. They've more got things going on and it's not an alignment. Really? I'm glowing, am I? At almost 1 o'clock in the morning. Thanks. Yeah, there is a lot of purging of the ego at the moment. So, yeah, try and tune out of the stress, Michelle. You know, look at it this way. Can I control it? No. Is there a solution? Yes. Okay, if you find the problems, you write the problems down, then find a road. If we then get to a point where we're going, oh, I've got problems. We all have problems. Write a list, write the reasons you think that is a block and what you can physically do to remove that. If it means a mountain you've got to climb, well, you better start climbing that mountain. There is a solution to every problem. And if there's not, it's not a you problem. It's out of your control. So it's pointless actually wasting your energy worrying about it. That's okay. Look after yourself, love. Why, Sally? What's up? Well, I'm back in, I don't know what you'd call it, really. Again, I will always say reunion comes from you. And that's another thing you guys, you know, because there's been great debate over what's reunion, what's union. To reach union, you need to unite with you. I was reading that and I can't now because it's gone. Oh, 1 minute. Oh, I'm glad you feel welcome. Yeah, we're a little family here. I was answering a question before and now it's kind of gone vague on me. Yeah, as I was saying, the union comes from you. And that did take me a very long time. I mean, I've been on the journey now. Well, look, technically you're a twin from birth, previous life, etc. You will be working on that most of your life till the point you meet your twin if you are energetically connected in this lifetime, which let's deem it at that at the moment, or talking in layman's terms of people you connected with as twins. you will find you will need to do the work on yourself. And I wish I'd known this because I only found out it was a twin 2 years ago. Obviously, I felt it was a spiritual connection. It's like, wow, I can't purge this. This is interesting. But the education and you being able to come home from yourself, moving away from codependent patterns, owning your power, which your power is knowing what you do and don't have control over, where you haven't been actually adhering to what is correct for you. It's a lot of things. It's the work you do on yourself. So, you know, working on the union with yourself and not being scared to do that, regardless of what happens, not being scared to be alone, being okay with that you won't die or be okay, not getting triggered by, hey, I'm going to be left on the shelf, or, oh, God, you know, it's going to be this, this, and this. When you've done that, when you have the connection with your twin, providing you've done the work on that and the purging last year, it's not to say it's going to run smoothly because it depends on where your twin is. But if you can come back to self-awareness and you're not moving into your codependent pattern, you will understand and give the flexibility for that transformation to happen. So you need to come back into self-awareness. Oh, look, that could happen. Chuck some sand in them. Why not? You're better off to take your shoes off altogether. Hug a wooden table. I did that the other day when I was talking to Mark, and I was supposed to call him tonight, but it just didn't go quite according to plan. So love and light, Mark, and I'll talk to you in the morning after my client. Yildiz, interesting, funny, nice to be here. Yes, I do. Well, technically, I'm in reunion. But again, you know, I don't like to put a tag on it. You know, I don't really want to place it in a box. Yeah, I've been having 1 o'clock in the morning. Twin has been as well. Then, you know, out dead cold. That's okay, Dale. Honestly, Carmen, I've had a lot going on too. We do need to catch up soon, though. I was thinking about you yesterday, technically. Don't stress. It's just where the energy's at, Sally. It's not permanent. There's a lot of purging going on. So there's a lot of ending out karmic cycles. Just go with the flow. Wave it. Let them gain clarity. And it's for both of us, really. Look, at the moment, hermit mode is great for either party. You know, it's a great time to reflect. It's a great time to look at your life and go, what information am I getting in a download? Think of it as a temporary holiday and don't even be worried about it. Cool. I'm happy for you, Leanne. Yeah, just be careful, Eleanor, because I mean, you know, I had a meditation tonight and I was thinking about the aspect that some feminines are wishing to run. If you get too triggered, you may, and it's really, you're really running from yourself. How are you, Carmen, anyway, after everything? I hope you're well. Have I been on your mind? I've actually had a few clients inbox me and go, I had a dream about you last night. I'm like, you poor thing. Why would you want to dream of me? Haunting my clients in their dream. What, in the 3D? You seeing your ex, or are you seeing them, you know, in a dream state? Interesting, Eleanor. He's actually not rejecting you. You're rejecting your own energy, and that's the horribleness about the mirror. Until you can feel safe in your own energy and you're not going to go back into the fair-based frequency of abandonment, it won't be in alignment. And it's where I got to prior to reconnection, which I was going to mention in the previous video, and I didn't really go into great detail. I had to really check in with myself and see where I was. And I think over the moving into the new year, and like I haven't had any contact at all, zero, over 10 months. Hadn't even considered it. I spent New Year's in alignment with self and had to meditate upon my personal life of where I was. And it was okay. Where are you personally? And I checked in with where I was and I thought, I really need to be truthful to myself. So you have to be in truth to yourself. You have to release the fear-based frequencies of connections in general. You know, of anyone you've been romantically connected to, of pain body experiences you've had with different things, abandonment-related issues, you become so fatigued to the point the ego and you can no longer fight with each other that I come to a release point of tired, doesn't feel like that no more. It's like, yeah, whatever's going. And the release come about communication. And it was very unexpected. Although I did energetically feel the frequency behind me. And at the same time, I'd been seeing double numbers, but not the same combination. So 144, 444, 111, 221, you know, just combination numbers. Many synchronicities which are gone dead, but just the vibration of, oh shit. I don't know, but our temperature went very high and peaked, and then it's dropped down, which is what I said would happen around the eclipse. So there's potential funky weather coming. We need to keep grounded. I think regardless, the realization needs to be that no matter what, you'll always be okay. And that's the truth, really. I mean, you know, if you need to provide for yourself, you'll provide for yourself. You're open to love with whoever that be with, whoever is going to be in alignment with you. You're in general in your own energy and truth of who you are as a person. No, you would potentially not like drama, but life has drama. How you deal with it, and if it belongs to you, you deal with it. But if it's not, you just have to keep learning to step back, learning to drink your milk and stay cool. I've been seeing more bird totems. So I've seen a stork, I've seen owls, crows. Again, the crows don't directly affect me because I'm quite spiritually connected to the crows as my animal totem. Squirrels, possums, all for totems. Yeah, so I saw some horses as well. They were on the beach the other day. 5 horses. Yeah, true. But they love our garden, Carmen, because we have water. They were so thirsty, the poor babies. They come to us because we're the bird women. Panda bears. Panda bears? That's an interesting one, Sally. You make me laugh. They swim in your pond. They try to drink out of the sprinkler here. I think yours would be more interesting, though, the way it goes up in the air. It has an alignment issue. It kind of waters the sky, doesn't it? You will find with technology at the moment, a lot of you may be replacing electrical related items. Cars may be replaced all of a sudden through choice. Oh, that's so cute. You'll have to send a photo to me. And that's perfectly fine, Eleanor. As long as you're not going back into frequency of feeling, oh God, you know, runner mode, or I don't believe you, or you can't change, it will never happen. You know, that's fear-based frequencies. It's not a reality. Really? Yeah. Well, we had the reticulation hair go, the dishwasher, and plumbing as well has been a big thing where, yeah. Oh, we can manage communication. The one thing I've noticed, especially in twin flame journey, is that our ego tells us that the conversation and the communication needs to be the same as ours. And that had been a very interesting thing with any person I've dealt with over the years. And the work that I did last year was quite interesting in that we're not listening. When a person is talking, there are techniques and ways you can calm the situation. Again, I'd have to work with you one-on-one to directly help you understand your perspective, their perspective, and trying to, when you have the retreat, you have the time to move away from your ego and you do start replaying situations over in your mind and you go, yeah, I get where that's coming from. But when we're in it, it's very hard because we're in the 3D, which is important. We do need to be in the 3D. We directly deal with the aspects of the 3D. But we need to know, why things are coming that way. So the communication is different. So also you'll find, there is a lot of heart chakra directly connected to union energy. So the more from your heart chakra you can come, the better. And that's connected to any person in your life. From a compassionate perspective where you're looking at the other person's point of view. So if you're wanting to tap into an individual's point of view, you need to grasp the reason from the perspective in which they're coming. You also need to understand how masculines communicate. It's very different to the way you communicate. So it is about an art of asking them to feel safe, and it's building up that trust where they can use their communication and, try not to force issues on subject matters because that can be a codependent pattern as well in it, Also, what I was finding is Shelley and I were discussing expectations. Now, some of you may get into the I must create a healthy boundary energy if you become in union or reunion, whatever you want to call it, with your twin. Having a personal need, it depends on the words we're using, right? Expectation is, okay, for who I am and the style of person I am, this is my preference. You're flexible if you see movement, but you have a preference, so to speak, because it's not bad. So maybe not word it as an expectation, but again, it's a tag, it's a word. We do have personal needs in life, and that's reality. You have your way of perceiving things, they have their way of perceiving things. You have your needs and likes, they have their needs and likes. But it's also not placing that expectation on the person because they physically don't have to do it. They don't have to do anything you want. You don't have to do anything they want. So if you're getting triggered, it's because you're choosing to do something you don't want to do. So you're mad about it. 1212, is it? It's 112. I picked a fight with my twin just before I went into surgery, then had my incident. That woke you up. Yeah. And look, a lot of people were like, I want to talk to my twin about X, Y, and Z. Oh, but I've been waiting for the right time. If it's supposed to happen, it's supposed to happen. Generally, trigger points with twin is never bad, no matter how it happens. So don't ever go back into your thing like, oh, I fucked up. No, because there are things that is part of your aspect of what you need to trigger in them or what you need to say. When it happens, it was supposed to happen. Okay? So if it happens, don't go, oh, God, I'm in awareness now. You're always in awareness. Things happen. It's not that it was wrong. Whatever happened was supposed to happen. You might not understand it, but how they will receive it and what that will create potentially will be something essential. So Yes, Eleanor, but the interest that's happened in my twin flame journey. But I have a really beautiful client that writes eloquently. I absolutely adore her, and her metaphors are profound. And I did write to her at one stage, and I said, if you were a book, I don't know how I put it. I said I would ardently listen to you, and I would read you to the very last chapter. I mean, she really writes very beautifully. So, Sula, love and light, I love you. She has the most profound insight to the way we can perceive things. The reality is, winds change. There were times in my twin flame journey, people have a need because they're holding on to an aspect of what they had wanted. So what you're hearing is what they lost. They wanted that freedom, and potentially if they do have kids, they're going, I really had wanted to be free, really wanted to be free. And it's not that, and I don't want to relive that frequency. So it's not necessarily that you're hearing the full channel because they're in the pain body experience. Again, what you do learn through the twin flame journey is not all dreams align, but is the love more? And you will come to learn that some lessons have been given to you for you to actually learn of, would you be happier with a person that you didn't have a total spiritual connection with? Are you loving unconditionally? And it's not about the baby, right? This is very separate. The energy that we learn through the twin flame journey can be nasty as crap. How you learn it and why these things come up is directly connected to your past life. So when it's coming up for you, if you even retreat back, what will return to your energy, if in fact you're a true twin flame, is I'm moving on with my life. And sometimes energetically, you do end up having spiritual connections, with a high vibration soulmate. And that was part of your destiny. It was part of your path to energetically receive that frequency. If you're meant to learn something from your twin and you're going to have a reconnection with twin, which is inevitable, it causes extra dynamics. So it's really depends on your spiritual path and how things go. So yeah, sometimes you can end up having children with people and you can be very happy with them. And we can say, hey, I want to have a child, and then be told we can't have kids. So life doesn't happen the way we think it's supposed to. Try and allow that information to absorb. You've been in your truth, which is perfectly fine. It's something that you have a need to, okay? Well, it's not that you're a doormat, doll. It's that you have a dream. And part of that dream is having a child. The fact that he doesn't want a child doesn't mean that you're less or that he's wrong. It's a vibration he's working on, and you're helping trigger that in him. Does he have a child already, Dale? Yeah, look, my twin, how do I put it? Sometimes people had an idea. Now, pain body experience, young years, right? Something happens in childhood. The lessons you're going to learn then come up in trigger points through your life. Then suddenly your aspect of what you were thinking you were going to do, you're then brought back down to a responsibility energy, right? Then with that comes them having that pain body experience. Gee, I had a hope and a dream, but hey, I had to be responsible, and it might be the mother wasn't as responsible, whatever that frequency is personally for him. Then it's a bit like you burning your hand on the stove, and you're correlating that with twin flame energy. Oh, it was like that before. Oof. So his energy has nothing to do with you spiritually or him not wanting a child with you. What is coming up for him has nothing to do with you at all. It's physically to do with his pain body experience of those 2 children previously with the mother. Once he kind of resolves that, he can be open to communicating that truth. You don't need to, but you need to calm yourself to a point he can actually meditate upon that. So you've discussed it with him, which will cause a trigger point, which will then get him into meditation and him to go back to that pain body experience. So again, trigger point. Do you grasp what I'm saying? Allow universe to take charge of that and help him purge that, and just watch it flow. No, look, you're saying never. Twins can't get stuck and never. It doesn't work. We are unable to not transform. Now, my battery's going to die, so if you are needing help, feel free to book a reading, or I'll see you soon. If I can turn it off.